Welcome to another red or blue path decision. You find yourself here at the beginning of June. And the energy of June and how I want to welcome you this time is with love. It is all about love. It's how to discover not only the love that awaits you outside of you, but also the love that's ready to be unlocked within. And so that is the energy of this June. If you're ready, join me and we'll select your path. So here in June, what we're going to be doing is exploring how this month is going to usher in from the choices that we made last month. And so what we do is we read the different aspects of what you could have experienced from last month. And then using that information, you're going to pick the path that aligns to you most. So here in the beginning, I'm going to review not only what June is going to bring in, but also what was happening with you back in May. So I want you to get really conscious, take a nice deep grounding breath, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through an opened mouth. Really just sinking in to this moment, to this point in time where you get to make a conscious choice moving forward. So sometimes people ask me how this works. Jenessee, how does this work? What are you doing? This is not future telling. This is not precogging here. What we're doing is we're getting you really aligned to the energetic experience that you are coming into this month with. And so what that means is our chakra system basically is connected to every level and layer of energetic experience that we can choose to have. We can choose to play with each and every day, not only in this present moment, but then what creates this external reality that then shows up on our doorstep when we future to play with. And so what we do is we get you really grounded on what kind of experiences and choices you were making last month that led to an overall experience that you would identify May as. And so once you identify that was my May experience, that's what I was experiencing, that's what was I was exploring basically in May, and this is what I really feel like I'm entering this month of June with. Once you identify that that is the vibration that you played with, then what we can do is we can read the different aspects of your energetic field that are coming in that are going to not only show up, but might cause some of the potential hurdles, might cause some of the potential life experiences that you have here in June under what we would consider the energy, the shift energy of June, which is this love energy. So in a minute, we'll explain what's awaiting you from the blue path and the red path and allow you to make kind of a choice based off of where you're coming from, what path you will be walking moving forward into June. But here I want to just let you know what June is all about. So June is the month of love. I've already said this. It is the transitional point. I have a membership base of monthly members that I get to read every single month, and it's interesting. In the beginning of the year, in January, I do this really elongated reading to see what's going to be happening for them month to month, and what kind of energetic shifts they'll be experiencing. And so when I read them each month, I can kind of see what's happening and changing in their field, and if they're in alignment to what was kind of forecasted for them in the beginning of the year. And so in the broad spectrum of all people that I read, I saw this very consistent pattern that hit come June, and it is here. And I didn't even wake up to it until I grounded into this moment and said, what awaits us this June? And it's the love energy. And so the beginning of the year for all of us worldwide, the microcosm of our individual lives and how everything's affected us, but also the macro of what's happening in the world stage and how everything is just, it's not just even specific to one country anymore. It is so out there in every human, in the collective of what we're all experiencing. There has been this really drastic shift from January all the way up until May, right? And it's going to continue, no doubt, but there's this interesting switch point that we enter here in June, and I want to bring it to your awareness because truly you get to dictate how you move forward. June is about the integration. It's about the as above, so below. That might make sense to you. And if it doesn't make sense to you, all it really means is that the low self, the human, has this magical ability here in June to be open to its purpose, the as above or the high self. And so what I see as love is the heart chakra. The heart chakra in symbolic imagery presents itself as that Star of David, the upside down triangle on the right side up triangle that are interlocking, that represent the as above, the so below, the perfect union of two pairs coming together to create an experience in this moment that honors not only who you are as the human, but honors everything you feel and tap into that is that longing to know yourself as a soul, as the expansiveness of who you are and why you came to this earth in this moment to experience life as you are right now. And so June offers us this choice to step into the perfection of who we've intended ourselves to be. And the human is ready for it. The human is this upside down vessel, open, ready. It's a funnel that's ready to capture everything from the right side up triangle, that's ready to bring it all in. And so this is, to me, what love can be defined as. Of course, if you sit here and think of this as how it can affect your human reality, there are many out there that are desperately seeking that twin flame, that married soul that really just gets you in human form. That's how you can also encapsulate this loving energy when somebody else outside of you can just stare into your eyes and recognize that authenticity, the truth, the love that you are inside, right? And then be able to marry that with you. That is an expression of how we can manifest this non-physical energy that I'm talking about as the as above, so below. We will manifest that into our human form by attracting somebody that sees that perfection of our soul purpose within us. And so this can be playing out for you in any which way, but truly June is all about love. It's about really just settling in, anchoring in into this moment, allowing yourself to be in this switch, this halfway point of 2020, which really, my mind is blown, and it always is, because I like to stay as in the moment as I can. Each and every breath I take, I try and be grounded there. I don't do it all the time, not even close to it, 10% of the time probably, but my goal is really to just be here, be now, and not really get too far into the future, and don't try and dwell on the past. And so when I have these experiences that I sit down like this with you today, and I recognize the bigger pattern that's been playing out that we were anchoring in January, and that I read every member in January and said, right around June is going to come this switch. It's going to get easier, but it's really your choice. So I'm back to this point of June. There is an opportunity for you to make a choice. And this choice is, are you willing to accept the path that is here ready to take you in a new direction? And this is what the entire beginning of the year, the first 6 months of the year, really up until this point, has been guiding us towards. It's really allowing us to do this deep self-reflective work that gets us anchored back into who we are, why we're here, maybe all of the density, the old stuff that has needed to be released was able to get released during all that slowdown, all of I want to say the stagnancy, but I just said that. It's just all of that denser energy that we had to really work through and plow through, and it felt like we were running through quicksand the past few months, right? Or like running through wet sand on the beach. And so here in June, we're given this opportunity to choose a path that is walking in alignment to everything that kind of is the potential of what we intended for ourselves to be and what we intended for this human experience to be. And so to me, that is the interlocking of love. That is the unconditional aspect of love, where you can be in such trust over your path, the perfection of what you've been guided towards in this moment, that you're ready to say, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm open, whatever that may be. And again, 2020 in total is a complete building year. So this is the midway point of the race. It's not saying that if you choose this path by the end of the month, you're going to know exactly what's here and why you're here and all of that purpose-filled desire that you so so desperately hold on to. But what it's saying is that if you at this point choose that path of love and integration and walking in truth of who you are, what you are, and why you're here, then the path over the next 6 months will be aligned very directly to that outcome, and in complete alignment to usher you into the foundation that was needed to be created here over the entire landscape of the 360, were we a leap year this year? I'm not sure. Plus days to get you through this, to build a solid platform for then the rest of this cycle, which is a very long, almost 30-year cycle ahead of us. So what you're doing this year is so important. What you choose right here at this midway point is so important. And then every single breath you take every single day, and knowing that in every breath you're choosing a life experience that's going to help either keep you in alignment or help give you awareness that you're off your path. And so that's where we start this month with. And if you're ready for it, we'll just take one more deep breath so you can really anchor in and just get into your own body, call all your own energy back, bring that mental energy back through a deep breath, inhaling in and exhaling out. And then your emotional energy, pull it back from wherever it is, inhaling in, exhaling out. And this last breath, really just feel into that beautiful physical body of yours, breathing in and exhaling out. Okay, so now, as you know, I kind of track this way. I've got the different 78 aspects of what can show up for you in your multidimensional chakra system. I'm using the Chakra Oracle deck here, a deck of my own creation, to really pinpoint where in your energetic field the patterns might be coming in, the energies might be coming in that are going to help keep you in alignment to this love aspect, this integration that's happening in this month. And so we're going to start by going into last month. And so I need you to get ready to make a choice. You're either going to pick the red path or you're going to pick the blue path for this month. And I always put a disclaimer, a warning here, that if you listen to both paths, you will most likely be treading the energies of both paths, which means in this month, you're going to be taking on double the lesson plans, double the energetic connections. So even if you have to listen to both blue path and red path in totality, I highly suggest saying, I choose red path, I choose blue path at the end of it once you're aware of it, so that way all of your energy and awareness is focused on one singular path to really create the healing, the resonance, the connection to that path, because we're reading your field here. We're reading where your energy needs to come back into center so that you can align to that highest, greatest outcome of this month, which is that love integration, that love energy. And so here we go. We're going to start with blue path. So if you're on blue path, your May was all about having to have courage. It was about using your own intuition and alignment to your energy, your knowing, the power, the drive, the determination to get things done. You had to have so much courage, and it probably wasn't there in the beginning of the month, but throughout the month, the energy really started manifesting for you. You manifested what you needed. You had to probably face inner demons, and if it wasn't the inner demons, it was the external demons, everything you kind of shoved into the closet that had come out for review. Last month was a month where you had to just continue to find a new level of courage, continue to find and really fight for, go to bat for, claim your space over the things that intuitively you knew were true, right? So this was really you being your own advocate last month. This was about you showing up to fight for what you believed in, fight for what was true to you. You did not let people steamroll you. And this, interestingly enough, if you were walking blue path last month, it was we'll call it the unsexy of the two choices last month. It was what was perceived to be kind of the harder of the two paths. So whoever picked blue path last month, I really honor what you had to go through, because again, you were opening and exposing yourself to yet another level of emotional purging and emotional releases, right? Even though you're like, I've been doing this for my entire life, and here it is again, showing up again. What more is there to purge? Yet this blue path energy from last month was all about you achieved it. You manifested the courage you needed to really show up and be that advocate for the truth that was so evident inside of you. And so blue path, if this is your path, again, you can switch from month to month. And if you're on the membership platform, which there is the free part of the membership, which will align and feed you all of these videos as they come through the month, so you don't have to go and find red or blue paths somewhere else where they're located. If you're on the membership platform, whether it's paid or free, you can change your path at the top. And I really encourage you each month, if you're feeling a different resonance to a different path, to switch that energy, right? And to make sure you're aligned. Sometimes I go between red path and blue. Actually, almost all the time I flow between red path and blue path. Really, the red and blue is just to anchor in a differentiation between the different paths you could choose to be walking this month under the umbrella of the love integration that's happening. And that ultimate path that we're all walking on, there's these different micro levels that are coming in to really help assist us to get into that perfect alignment in our energetic field, to be able to walk and integrate that love, that downward facing triangle that's coming in, that's interlocking with us this month. Okay, so that would be your blue path, and the person on this path is really coming in with a very strong energy, right? Again, it's this, I almost want to say it's almost as if it's like a warrior type of energy. Like, you probably feel like you have fought the good fight, and whether this was an internal battle with yourself, whether it was against corporate America, whether it was against the man, if it was a partner, whoever you've been fighting these battles with, physical or non-physical battles, your own psyche, right? You're coming in off of a high of knowing that you feel at least, whether you were fighting the right fight or the wrong fight, it doesn't matter. It was your fight. Again, no such thing as right or wrong here, but you were really anchored into what you needed to be doing, and you cultivated the willpower, which is so important to know here, because what really allows the free will choices of the human to have massive impact in this world is the amount of energy we can draw up and then push into it, and that solar plexus chakra energy, and that is the willpower energy here, meeting what you knew to be true. And so the fact that you were able to cultivate whatever it took, whether you had to study more to have more knowledge to go into this battle, whether you had to cultivate a self-esteem that you didn't have before to move forward in knowing that you could stand strong in knowing your truth here. Whatever energy you had to cultivate, again, whether it be physical or non-physical, you did it. You manifested what you needed and were able to go out and be that perfect advocate for yourself. Okay, so again, that is our blue path. If you know that's your path, I'll put a timestamp here and a little link card, so it'll take you to the next part of the video. So make sure, if that feels right, don't even listen to red path. You don't need to. Trust yourself. Again, you advocate, right? You advocated for yourself all last month. Do it again right here. If that feels so true, so right, and I know only like 1 out of a percent of you would do this, but really just trust it and move forward knowing your blue path this month. It's a lot of power that in essence chooses the path so authentically, that puts so much power into that path. It doesn't fracture any of your energy. It really just pushes all that momentum forward and has you already starting to align to the best, highest, and greatest outcome of this umbrella of love for this June. Okay, so red path, here we go. So if you're going to be red path this month, let me just track out over here. So it's because in May, you were in a tendency, you had the tendency of, it's a mental energy here, and it's a hyper third eye chakra, which is obsession. There was something, probably a lot of things, that constantly pulled you out of the present moment and projected you into a future. Whether it was 2 days because you were working on a project that had a timeline, whether it was 1 week because you had a contract that was due, whether it was a year because you had no clue what job or where you were going to be in a year, and that's when things ran out. Whatever it is, if it's contemplating the future of things. This is the May energy for you. It made it very hard to stay in the moment, which means you might have tripped a lot. People might have had to say, huh, what, to you a lot, or use your name and say, hello, are you listening? People were like knocking on your door, had to text you twice. You missed some of the texts that came through. You forgot the emails. This is because you were projected into the future timeline of where you were going. And so May energy, it's all about this obsession energy, right? And so it was really about, this is what we call precogging in my world. It's about trying to jump into the future, to understand what's coming in your path, to understand the energy that was there so that you could make the best decisions possible for you in this moment in time that helped you align to that. So this could even be the person who was a bit unsure of their future and created dream boards, did I love the dream board term because it's just so easy, right? But could have been doing for business wise, doing canvases for your business plans, rebranding, re-strategizing, a whole year marketing calendar, because maybe the world's speeding up and spinning faster. The world is speeding up now, and there is more money, and people are coming back online, right? And so both online and online, right? And so it's like, there's more energy and movement to start getting things going. And so this is the person who had the agenda of really having to tap into the future to try and assess what's happening there before they make the decisions here. And again, there's no good, there's no bad here. This is just the energy that you're bringing in. And because that was the energy that you had in May, you now have attracted specific energies to align to you through your root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown, right? All of your personal chakra system, because of the choices you made from every day before today. It has aligned certain outcomes and energies to you that will begin showing up for you. Some of these will come in as patterns, some of these will come in as activation, some of these will come in to integrate you more fully. But again, everything you're going to experience this month is under that umbrella of love. And so what path are you walking? How easy is this path going to be? And this is all determined by every single free will choice you as this human makes in the moment, right? And so that's what we're doing here, is assessing what choices and how were you acting in May. What was the energy? For red path, it's going to be somebody who felt like, because of whatever circumstances were going on in May, that you were projecting yourself into the future, having to create things and constantly visualize, understand, try and encapsulate what could be, what the potential was. Again, it's this obsessive tendency to try and know something out here, to understand it, to then make decisions in the moment that will then align you to a projected outcome of the future. Now, anybody who's listening to this knows, especially my business friends out there, knows that, gosh, along the way, you can have some hoped for outcome. Even when you write a business plan to get funding, from your bank, it's really just a placeholder. It's an anchor in time. And if that outcome is the same, if that business plan is the same as what that outcome looks like when you arrive at that date, it's pretty miraculous, right? That tends to change and shift and adjust and morph so so much. But this is where we're at for you Red Path people. It was about really having lots of timelines, having a lot of projects. It was working on things that weren't here in the moment. It was working on things that were really far out, and having to really try and visualize, try and conceptualize. It was probably getting you pretty obsessive because you were hanging out in that future reality where there is nothing physical or tangible yet, and then having to understand how to pull that back, bring that back to serve and to create momentum in this moment to then attain whatever those goals are. And so that's Red Path. And again, I highly suggest to go into the Chakra Deck app, which is free. You can go to the monthly guidance there, and through that button you'll have to log into the private membership site, which is another whole login step. It won't just naturally log you in from the Chakra Deck app. And from the free or the paid, you can then adjust your path red or blue once you log in. If it says viewing as a guest, you are not logged in. So as soon as you hit OK, you have to then log in or create an account there, and then you can assign I am on the red path or the blue path this month. That way, when all the other videos come out this month, they're aligned to you. They populate to show you either the red or the blue path. At this point, you need to make a decision. Do not move on. Do not watch both descriptions of the paths. I swear it's just going to fracture your energy even more, make you separate your energy to walk subtly both red and blue path. And what we really want you to do is get very clear on where you are going, how you are moving forward, so that everything that comes in next, all of these alignments, and all this kind of wisdom that comes in to serve your energetic field next, can come in and serve you in the best way possible to really be that that center point that allows the as above so below, the love vibration to come in this June and to set your path on fire. Really, that's what June is. It's about anchoring in, getting really centered, balanced, and allowing the human to be open to that which is there to serve you from your high self, from your purpose. And then when you do that and you center all of that, you literally have a heart magnetism that can pull you forward. And we're going to need that energy come, June to December here for the rest of the month, to really make sure that everything, the path we're building, is strong, solid, and the foundation we need to support us over the next 30 years, right? Okay, so Red Path, stay tuned. We'll do Red Path right here because we just talked about you and the obsessive tendencies from May. So we're going to continue on with Red Path. If you're on Blue Path and you watch that kind of final wrap up of Red Path, but you know you're on Blue Path, go to the timestamp, click the I button link at the top right now to go to this part of the part of the video, and then Red Path, stay tuned because we're going to get right into what's coming for you here. Red Path. Okay, so Red Path, we're going to talk about what your mastery is for this month, which again is under the umbrella of love. So we're going to look at the total mastery for you this month, what your soul is here really integrating so that it can continue to move on in the most aligned and harmonious way. The new beginning will be an update. It will be kind of what the potential could be for you. And then the end of the month will bring in and usher in the duality, which will be the hurdle or the test, right? It will be the that kind of last final test to see if you're really ready to move on and to see kind of what's coming next. And be fully integrated into what this June was here to teach you as a soul living here in this beautiful experience. So the mastery for you this month is all about manifesting vulnerability. And I love this. Not that I don't love anything, any of this, but it's the Archangel Shamuel who comes in to give you almost the angelic energy you need to really just open the heart. And so this is about finding new levels of release, of vulnerability, of it's like tapping into those more subtle, sensitive levels within you to allow this really deep opening to happen. Again, if I go back to where you were in May, again, there's no good or bad. Everything was just an experience to get you right here, to get you into the perfection of this moment, to get you to understand what's important, what's not important, where you were coming from, because it was a projection, which we consider a hyper chakra, right? A projection from your third eye chakra. You were outside of center. You were playing in realities last month that weren't even manifested yet. And so when that happens, you can feel a bit disconnected from what was going on. You can feel a bit maybe even confused, right? The shadow energy, if you stay in a projection either in the past too long or in the future too long, what'll start to happen is you'll start to block that energetic center, and that energetic center is the third eye chakra, which comes in at illusion when you start blocking. So it really has you distrusting the rational, logical mind with the intuitive, holographic mind. It has you have a lot of distrust in actually anything you could be projecting or thinking or precogging, right? In the mental arena, it could create that hyper spinning, which is too many obsessive thoughts, where maybe you weren't able to sleep a lot last month because there was just so much on your mind, so many potentials you were tapping and playing into. And so here with this mastery for you this month, it's really coming in, and it's Archangel Chamuel who's coming in. So if you find yourself having a hard time with this, I'd say definitely send a heartfelt prayer out to Chamuel, right? Angels can't assist unless you ask for the assistance, because there's a free will component here that we all operate under. And so to just send that heartfelt expression out saying, I need a little bit of extra help just getting vulnerable, getting into this moment. So think about where you're coming from, the obsessive tendencies, and whether this was dictated to you by your job and what you had to do, or if this was self-imposed, that you were really just trying to understand and create a reality that you could step into in the future, and got really obsessive about that, or everything that's going on in your mental arena right now. Whatever and why ever the circumstances were that created this obsessive energy for you in the mental plane, whatever it was, it's saying the mastery for you in June is to trust that May you did it. May you really saw all the aspects. May you really created that business plan. You got really clear. You saw all the potentials. You went down every timeline, multiple timelines, to try and understand, if this happens, what'll happen? If this goes this way, what'll happen here? If this domino falls like this, how's that line gonna look, right? And so you really calculated the entire way through May. And so now what it's saying is you've done that. You've done that. You can let it go. And this is where it's going to feel really vulnerable to you, because I'm assuming you're probably somebody who does this or can get into this heady space a lot. But here in June, what's really required of you is to trust. And this is vulnerability, right? To trust in yourself, to trust in everything you've aligned for yourself, to trust in what you've calculated, set up, conceptualized, thought about, planned for. It's to really trust. June is asking you to release the obsessive tendencies. And the mastery for you comes when you actually allow yourself to be in the moment, to start to see how everything you planned from May up until this point, how all of that now is going to start to slowly seep in and shift, how some of the things are going to work, how some of the things aren't going to work. And so it's asking you to be vulnerable to the path now, to be vulnerable to your journey, saying you've set yourself up for June. June now, they want you to release. They want you to let go and to just be here, open, exposed. No longer trying to reformat that goal. You don't need to continue to massage it to look a certain way. It's done. It's already set on your timeline. So now what you have to do is every day show up with no expectation, see what you feel, see what you think, see what shows up, and then based off of what shows up, what you feel, what you think, then make little decisions every day this day that then get you to the next decision. And so it's making decisions, decision by decision, step by step, day by day, and allowing yourself to really be vulnerable to this experience of what happens if I let go of controlling it, what happens if I just show up and deal with what shows up. It's like letting go of needing to have 10 answers ready for 10 different scenarios, letting go of all of that and really opening yourself, becoming vulnerable. And I assume for somebody like you who had that energy of last month, or whatever this specific project or whatever this life experience was that made you so obsessive last month, if you're here, it's almost probably going to be a very scary thing to really relinquish all of that control over this entire the picture of what you were holding. To just, it's like a clean whiteboard, right? It's like you've set that goal, you've done it, now erase it. And it's not that you're erasing it from where it's anchored into your future. It's still anchored there in its perfect totality as you've set it up. But what you're doing now is every day you're releasing any expectation of what it's going to take to get you to that goal. And so what that means is you're a total open, exposed vessel to live through experiences that will then help guide you towards reaching that goal in whatever and however that goal is going to show up for you. So the mastery for you is really about discovering how to be vulnerable this month. Long-winded way to say that. That's it. So your mastery and what you're being taught as a soul, what your soul teaching is this month, right? The bigger activation on a soul level for you that's coming in, that's going to open you up more to receive that integration of your love, the divine path, more of the purpose coming in this month. It's about learning how to be vulnerable and learning how to be in a moment without having to control the outcome, the expectations, having to control any of it. It's just surrendering to what is and then using what shows up to help guide you and navigate you deeper into where you're supposed to be going. Okay, so that's your mastery. Now we're going to go into the beginning of the month and the end of the month. So at the beginning of the month you have your full moon, at the end of the month you have your new moon. And so the right around the full moon, and I always say it's kind of the tens of the month is where I start to see the energy shift from the beginning of the month to then the new beginning, which is, from 10, which is the programming of it for your path, the 11, which is the gateway where you step through into the new beginning of this energetic cycle that you're in, which the energetic cycle that you're in is the vulnerability. And so here at the beginning of the month, the tens of the month, around that full moon, what's going to be coming in for you is a lot of courage energy. And I really, really enjoy this for you because it's saying, this can be taken twofold. It's saying that it's gonna require you to have a lot of courage. And so you're gonna get a boost of energy to really have courage to follow and to persevere through what for you is going to feel very exposed. You're going to feel the vulnerability right around the new beginning. How you know you're doing this right, and how could you not do it right? You're you, but it's all going to be perfect. Whatever happens, it's all perfect for you and how you need this experience to unfold. But right after the full moon is going to help you kind of the full moon illuminates where there is dysfunction, where there is duality, and so the full moon becomes this washing away or bringing up of the old to really step into the next phase. And so then in the tens of the month, then you start to integrate this energy of courage, which is saying you will get an influx of really heightened it's energy. Like you probably will have a hard time sleeping. You might even do this through substance, right? Maybe you drink more coffee or go for more soda or caffeine or Red Bulls or whatever it is, right? You could even be craving energy. It's like that, like supercharged superhero kind of energy, and it's going to come in for you. But at some point, it's going probably around the duality of the month. It's probably going to in the 20s. 20s, it's going to start to subside. And so right around the 20s, I could see you probably getting into patterns of drinking too much caffeine or trying to sustain the really heightened energy that's naturally going to shift for you around the full moon. So around the full moon, there's going to be this massive influx of just like, we call it Agni energy. It's that fire energy that's in the belly. It's just like you have so much motivation, so much determination. It's like you want to go out and do a run for whatever reason. I'm sorry, that's my projection. I hate running. So, so for those of you that love running, it could be like a double run or a double the length of a run, right? It's like there's just so much energy. And this is really coming in to also give you that, it happens around your solar plexus chakra, which means it's coming in to inspire you, the human, the person, to give you that boost of self-confidence, of self-worth that's going to be necessary in alignment to the intuition, the truth, what you've been thinking, what you've been playing with. And so really this boost of energy comes in to help you find new levels of courage based off of what you perceive to be truth, but that has not yet manifested yet. And so it's the courage not only to be vulnerable, to almost feel like you're exposed when you release and relinquish this control, to show up. It's going to give you the energy you need to show up each and every day, ready to kind of go to battle for what you need, even though you might not have control or know exactly what you need. It's going to give you that energy. And so, how this applies to what yours is a very interesting, I don't so much always see the May energy pulled into the new month energy as much as it is for you. So whatever this big project is, whatever the big kind of energy of May was that you were really working on, carries through. But it's interesting because it's like you have to relinquish all expectation of the May energy and become vulnerable to the evolving of this naturally. And so that's why right around the beginning of the month, just an influx of energy, courage, the ability to expose yourself, meaning release any attachment to how you think it should go now, and be super vulnerable to how the bigger purpose. Again, remember, this June energy is all about the divine integration. It's about your high self, the as above, so below, integrating, which means your purpose now coming into your human path. And so to do that, the human path anchors in what you anchored in May, which is this expectation of a goal. And your little goal is this big, and divine's goal for you is like, oh, it's like the sun, right? And so you can anchor this, but then you have to open up so that you can tap into the hugeness of what this could turn into. And that's going to require the mastery of vulnerability, knowing that your limitations of your human mind can only serve 1% of what your divine self wants to create into this reality. So you have to kind of let go, be vulnerable, and then you're going to have courage. You're going to have this influx of energy, which is going to be, it's great because it's almost like it's like divine's keeping you busy. It's like divine's like really in the vulnerable state. Divine's going to give you so much energy, and it's energy to go for intuitively whatever you're feeling to go for that day. Again, so it's like, I want to run today, I want to create this today, I want to do this today. It's almost like intuitively, just these influences will come in, and I almost feel like divine's like, hey, look over here, hey, look over here, hey, look over here. And it's like trying to keep you distracted with other things that you're going to get an influx of energy for, so that you're not so super attached to the one singular goal that you set out for. Okay, so the next one, the duality comes up around the new moon, which again, I love the balance of this. So the duality comes up in the 20s, so it's going to start with the 20, the 20 of the month, June 20th, and then it'll keep going all the way through to the 30s hit, right? And so this is the time where you get tested. This is the time where you're literally going to be given kind of real world tests, although it be through non-physical energy. You're going to get initiated initiated here. And so this is the test to see if you've really mastered your vulnerability, right? The activation that's kind of come through for you. And so where your duality comes in is a distrust. And so I really feel like come the 20s and the end of the month, through the beginning of the month, all that courage energy, I feel like there's going to be a lot of momentum, a lot of energy, a lot of movement. Right around the 20s, you're probably going to hit a wall. And that non-physical energy that's been lighting you up from the inside out is probably going to diminish. It's probably going to step back. All of the momentum you've been feeling, all of just the energy, the experiences you've been having, the little clicks in, right? The tiny little things that have kind of showed up, the synchronicities. Right around the 20s, I feel like it's kind of going to pull back, and it's going to be like, okay, do you really trust? And so what that does is this is a hypo crown chakra, which means you've been open crown chakra, funneling all of this divine energy and all this love energy from high self in to keep you aligned to your purpose, to keep you moving forward towards your purpose. And then what's going to happen around the 20s is that siphons off, and it becomes like this little tiny funnel instead of this huge massive opening that you've had. And so when that happens, I feel like your energy is going to drop. I feel like you're going to get into old patterns of distrust. Things aren't going to feel as connected. And this is where the ultimate test in vulnerability comes in. It's like, okay, you were able to be vulnerable when you had all the energy and connections and little things coming in to validate you. Now, will you still have the trust and be able to be vulnerable to your path when it feels like all hope is gone, right? And so I feel like it's going to go dark for you in around the 20s of the month. And this is beautiful. I love this. I don't know what the new moon is at the end of the month, but the new moon comes in to be a new beginning. It's a complete wash of the system to align you to the next new beginning. And so this for you, if you can know, and this is why I think it's so important to energetically know kind of what's shifting in your path, but to remember and know that this is going to come in as a test, and to see if during a slowdown, during an integration phase, when the energy leaves, can you be in that? Can you trust that this is just a part of a cycle? This is just a part of a transition, a changing of guards here, where the next energy will be coming in right after this. But can you trust in yourself enough and what you've created and all of the connections and energy you've had pushing you forward? When that's gone, can you still hold the truth of who you are, what you're creating, and feel it enough internally that when everything outside of you slows down or stops, that you can really be the advocate for what you're building and what you're connecting to, right? And so this is the kind of final big hurdle that you're going to have to cross. But again, as long as you can stay vulnerable, as long as you can stay really in that the more you feel exposed, the more you feel like there's no protection, like you're walking naked down the street and everybody's seeing every fault, every flaw that you see, right? The more you can see and feel exposed in what you're doing this month, the more in alignment to the mastery you are becoming. This is your goal, is to really tap into levels of vulnerability that you have not experienced before. And this is what you are being asked to go through, so that you can, again, experience that divine love integration, which is really just coming back into the center, holding your truth, your authenticity. When you can do that, stay centered, then you are the divine embodiment of human and spirit in this moment in time. So that is your June. And look forward. If you don't have the Chakra Deck app, definitely download it. It's free. And you can experience daily kind of awarenesses that come up to help you stay fine-tuned to the journey. And then also in there, you can log into the chakra membership and align to the red path so that you get all the videos that come through this month as well when they're launched around the new moon and the full moon. And then if you want to become a paid chakra member, you can do that. And we have live calls and we work through other things together, and you can kind of read all about that on the site. So with so much light and love to the red path on your journey, I cannot wait to see you right around the full moon, the beginning of the month. Hello, Blue Path. Okay, I'm so excited. I don't usually say this, but I was saying it out loud and I was like, oh my God, I'm so Blue Path. I'm usually like, am I red? Am I blue? I'm one of those flip-floppers. And until the end, oh geez, now I'm telling you all my secrets. And until the end, even at the end, I'm usually floating between both paths, right? But this time I'm so excited because it's usually not as clear as this month. And this month, it's all about the blue path for me and apparently for you. So let's get started. So blue path is all about coming from May, ushering into this month. It's all about you had to be the advocate for yourself. You had to, whatever intuitively you were processing, you really had to cultivate energy and determination to go for it, right? And so that's the energy you would manifest it all through May. And so now you come in to June, and we're looking at the umbrella, the bigger umbrella of love, and connecting your high self or your purpose to low self, the human, right? And so it's like this June is this interesting locking key. It's like everything that was from the beginning of the month was really the stripped down, let go of, realign, recultivate, redirect, right? And that's coming in. And then everything that goes out from June to December is going to be laying the groundwork, really building. Let's see, the 7 is all about the spirit coming in. So the things that you need will be coming into your path. You'll be manifesting what's necessary to build the rest of the foundation. All of these things, you'll be programming it and then kind of setting it off to then meet you and be the new foundation for you for 2021. And so really the end of the month is a very tangible integration. And so we're bringing these two things in June, and June is this like lock inside the key that just boop brings it all together. And so how can we bring your purpose more fully into your human trajectory right now? And so the interesting thing for you, the mastery for you this month is, I'm going to say it 2 ways. So the mastery for you this month is to not be lazy. It's as simple as that. There's a tendency for you to get so very into the future of what you're building. And this is very foundational, structural, like actual things that you create. You might be one of those people who you think it, you create it, and you have it. And it's like, now what do I do with it, right? And so you have this tendency to really precog, to get so far into the future and see it and then instantly create it and then be like, well, what do I do with this, right? It's like, okay, let's just put it on the shelf and maybe it'll happen. It'll turn into something, right? And so what happens is because of that energy, because of how easy it is for you to go into the future, feel into it, and then create something to embody that. The thing is, whenever you tap into the future, that energy, the timeline that it's connected to is out here, right? In a timeline, you're here, this is the future, and it's out here. So it's not scheduled to manifest until here. So you have to walk every day to get there. And so if you are tapping in here, feeling something, and then creating it here, it's not going to have a resonance in your fabric of reality yet, right? It's not meant to be here yet. It was meant for you to have feelings towards it, experiences, so that you could live daily and recalculate, fine tune, and then get there. And so what happens is people who project into the future want to create something now. What happens is they don't like being able to feel that energy and not do something with it. And so what you're being asked to do is literally this lazy energy, right? Where it's like when you project too far here, sometimes it takes you time. It needs you to slow down. It needs you to stay in the moment so that can really evolve in the best way possible to create a solid foundation that will be supported when you actually get there. And so your tendency is to feel too much into it, create it immediately to get it off of your plate. And so really this is about feeling into the flows. It's about understanding where you are. It's about maybe even slowing down a bit to really sense into what's here, what's now. And so also, if I can read this a different way, it's about understanding that what you're creating needs to be energetically connected, right? Everything you do, every choice you make needs to be weighted to this moment. That's where all the energy, that's where all the magic is. If you can live in the present moment, and this is what your mastery for this month is, it's reminding you that in this moment is where all the magic is. If you're too sensitive to things out here, things back there, things everywhere, and you get pulled out, and then you create from that moment because you're meditating on it, you have a thought about it, whatever. If you're one of those people who are so far expansive out here and creating from these areas, this month it's all about getting into this moment, being in the flow. So I'll tell you my example of this, and it's silly, but I woke up this morning, and I guess this is probably perfectly aligned. And typically what I do is I do my membership readings in the morning, and then whatever other things I have to do, I save to the end of the day. And so I like to get those membership readings out of the way because anytime you read somebody, you hold their energy, and it's like you're swimming in their energy until you read them, and then their energy's kind of, the door closes, and then you can kind of move on, right? And so I typically like to get that out of the way, and I woke up this morning, and all of the energy was moving towards doing this video. And I would typically save this video to the end of the day so I could edit it and upload it and do all those goofy things you have to do. And everything was just like, I want to record, I want to do this first. And it's just so counterintuitive to how I would typically do my day, but the energy was so potent to do this that I was like, okay, this is supported now. Nothing else is supported yet. This is what I'm feeling. And I know this is very specific and unique to me, but apply this to your own life. So when you wake up in the morning and you've got a whole agenda, a whole list, you've got to go shopping because you have no food. You've got to do, the bills because you have a second notice or whatever. There's hot ticket items that are blaring. You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And so when you wake up, those things are bleep, bleep, bleep. They're there because you've been tapped into them. They're there, and yet they're mental things or emotional. Maybe you're feeling them. They're emotional things. Yet there's energy that's going to, once you wake up, maybe your body's hurting and you save your yoga practice to the end of the day before you go to bed, and you just start doing some of these subtle stretches and it feels so much better, and you're like, I can't even go until I do this for my body, right? And so maybe you reorganize. It's really about getting into this moment and starting to recognize what's supported right now. And when I say supported, again, energetically, when you're in the present moment and you can think, feel, and then receive physical indication that there is something that wants to come through. And if all those things aren't in alignment, if you're not thinking it, feeling it, and it's showing up in the physical moment of your present existence, if one of those things isn't there, if you think it and it's showing up, but you don't feel like doing it, like my reading today. I think about it. I know I have to do my reading for my membership. It's here. It's today. The person's charged today, so I got to do it. But that feeling wasn't there, and so that means it's not supported in this exact moment of time. And so, what is supported? Well, thinking I need to do my June recording. It's here. It's today or never. really, because I have to edit and all these things. And then the next thing is I felt it. I wanted to do it. The alignment was there, which means energetically this is very supported. And so to do this, when you can stay in the flow, when you can be and build your foundation from the present moment and what is magically being supported in this moment, you will live a present life that is constantly being supported. And so this is the mastery for you this month. And there, it could be the tendency of getting too lazy because you like to do things to get it off your plate so you can have big gaps of time where you don't have to do anything. Or it could be doing too much at once, and then actually running yourself ragged and getting out of the flow and then not having energy to do anything later. Those two things are kind of the same energy, just looked at in a different way. But that would be maybe the tendency that you typically operate on. And so the mastery for you this month is really to find the flow and the balance of what is energetically supported in this moment. And so again, this is the umbrella, this is the big picture of what you're being asked to learn. This is the wisdom that's coming in for you. We would consider this kind of the upgrade to your system, energetically, the upgrade, the new thing that's coming in. And so when you can walk all of June with this energy and master this energy, it becomes a part of your energetic makeup now, where this is a pattern that you don't have to go through again. And so then as you move into the new beginning, which the new beginning I typically say starts around the June 10th of the month, which is when you start to program this new energy of the new beginning. And then the 11th becomes the gateway, the 12th becomes the first kind of duality with the new beginning. And so all through the teens of the month is when I start to see energetically this shift come in. And then what really triggers it and sets it off is the full moon. And so the full moon brings illumination into our path. And whatever this full moon astrologically falls under, I'm sure there's even more meaning. We'll get into that whenever that video comes out. But really, the full moon kicks off this new energetic connection to you, which becomes this activation. The full moon basically activates this new cycle coming in. And so for you, what's the new beginning all about? And what are you going to start to enter into the teens? The new energy for you is all about, it's all about knowing how to... it's the mind. So again, the mental field and how sensitive you are to all of this, how easy it is for you to tap into all the potentials, get all the ideas, have all these things swimming around your mental field. And then typically your life, it's about self-expression. How do you then walk your walk and talk your talk? Again, your mastery is all about finding the flow, what is supported. Sometimes you're connecting into mental things that are connected for somebody else. When you get that clear, you're picking up telepathically interesting things that are for your spouse or for your child or for a friend. And you will interpret it as your own energy and start to move forward as if it's your own calling. And so there are things that are timelined. You're supposed to pick up on something, and then you have a lunch date with a friend in 2 days, and then the friend starts talking about this and you're like, oh my God, I was just thinking about that. Here's what I was thinking about. And it realigns them and helps to connect them. So people who have a really highly active mental field, which you do, it's coming in that you do, and the mastery of what you're being taught right now is how to know when that mental arena is being called for to manifest into this physical reality. The mind, the emotions, and the physical reality all have to show up at the right time for any of this that you're doing to be supported. So I'm just repeating myself now, your new beginning is all about kindness towards your process. And so this is where you really start to have to witness. It's an internal witnessing that the mind is so highly active. I know you know this about yourself, but how many times, I wonder if you meditate, I wonder how often you meditate, because this would be an indication of somebody who, if you do meditate, you go into meditation to get even more clarity, right? Instead of going into meditation to be in the present moment and come back and realign to the present moment and just be. You're not doing Zen mindfulness meditation. You're doing visualization meditation to get more. And it's like, stop, I want to shake you. It's like, no, this is about having kindness towards the mind this month. And this is the energy of which shifts for you around the teens. Again, ushered in, activated by the full moon, and then start shifting into the teens. And so for you, the teens, again, it's all about once you get the activation of this, of the kindness energy, which means to take it easy on yourself, to allow yourself to take the breaks, to allow yourself to feel into the flow. If nothing's supported in a day, go take a walk, like go have a picnic. Do something that is self-love. Again, the energy of this month is to have you remember that it's not all about the purpose and it's not all about the human, but it's about the integration of both. And so how do we honor what our calling is, and how do we honor this human ride, this human journey we're on? And so maybe you need to take a picnic. Maybe you need to go out to some water source and just be of nature. Or maybe it's a movie, if the movies open up, which who knows if that will or not, but maybe you need to do that. There is energy and support for you when you show kindness towards your path, your process. And so around the teens for you, I think you're going to get in trouble. I say that loosely. If you find yourself really just pushing, constantly thinking, constantly idea man or woman, whatever it is, or undefined, whatever you're checking the box of here. And so it's really about having kindness towards your process, and then remembering that when you walk the walk and talk the talk of how you go through life, how you then move forward in life, how you choose what you do, how you actually express yourself in those teens of the June month, however you choose to express yourself, that it is through kindness towards your process and not getting mad at yourself for not meeting deadlines, for creating more, for doing more, for manifesting everything you're seeing here. It's not about that. Your month is about mastering the flow. It's about mastering this alignment to what's supported and what's not supported. And so now the teens are going to teach you how to have kindness and really integrating the self-love that's needed for you in this part of the journey. Okay, so now we get into the new moon, the end of the month, and it's going to start with June 20th, and of course there's flexibility here, but I always see it as happening this way. June 20th starts this trajectory of stepping into the potential duality, and this is where the initiation, this is where the tests come up, and it's going to test you to see if you've really learned how to stay centered and really present in the root chakra to create your foundation, because again, June is all about these two pieces of the puzzle, the first half of the year and the second half of the year coming in to create. The first half was your non-physical, your interpersonal work. The second half is going to be about the physical. It's going to be about things coming in, the foundation building, and these two things are going to come together right here in June. And so in that, how do you then walk forward in balance to high self and low self, transpersonal and personal, ego and purpose, all of these things. How do you marry all of that together? And it's coming together for you this month as I spit on the table. It's coming together for you right now. So how do you do that? Your mastery is learning how to stay in that sweet spot, the pocket, the flow, how to do that energetically, how to know what timeline is supported right now. So the duality comes in, and the duality it's codependent energy, which means this is really, really goofy and silly. So this to me, it's all about you when you can't do it. It's like, do you project it onto other people? Are you like the best delegator? Are you trying to get other people wrapped up into your stuff to help you move forward because you're trying to feel the flow, you're trying to do this? It's like, well, if I'm in the flow and I'm only producing 10% of what I used to produce, or even let's give you 50% of what you used to produce, right? Because you're now being in the flow, you're only doing what's called for. It's like, hey, if I get 50 people on my team all doing this and I can give them my ideas and they can run with it and do it, then we're going to get lots of people producing, right? It's like, this is the energy. It's still all about you. If you're projecting, it's a codependent energy. So this month needs to really stay about you. I think you can align partnerships, you can align, you can stay connected to whatever you have in place now, but don't go into projecting a lot of the work, responsibility, ideas, any of this. Don't go projecting it out to these other people. Don't just pull in these things and try and push them out. We're gonna just stay in, this is a month about you. And so the duality towards the end of the month is going to come up, where you might be moving forward fast. There might be people who come in to help you. There might be people who show up who are willing to work with you. All of these things. And I think I really would say, keep it about you this month. You don't need to be taking on extra contracts. I feel like the tendency for you would be, okay, I'll learn this, I'll do it for myself, I'll feel into it, but I still have so many potentials. And so if somebody's going to show up and want to work with me, and we can create a new timeline together and do this over here, it feels like that's going to just be a subtler pattern of the mastery you're trying to learn. It's an excuse that's like, oh, well, now they need this from me, or this is coming in, we can work together on this. And that's not 100% about me. Now I'm doing it because it's in resonance with them. It's like, no. This is just a different way to work your pattern here, right? The block that's coming in for you. And this could even be, if it wasn't, I've been talking about this kind of as if it's business a lot. But if what you have to do, and all these things that you've been thinking into and playing with, and what's supported now, and having kindness towards your process and finding that flow and what's supported now, if it's coming in and towards the end of the month, anybody wants to alleviate, it's like, if anybody comes in as the hero for you, if anybody wants to save you, if anybody wants to, I almost feel too like this could be, even if we go back to the love energy of this month, the physical form of this month takes shape in somebody who comes outside of you and just gets you. They see your soul, right? And this is how the best loves can start, right? This is how twin flame relationships get started. This is how soulmates who are friends working together, or whoever it is, they come in and they just get you. They get your project, they get what you're doing, they get what you're building, they see you. And so this is a physical manifestation of that love energy. But what divine is telling you is the duality is, if you see this person as alleviating some component of the work you have to do, if they're taking away something that was stressing you, again, you came in from this month advocating for yourself, whatever that courage was in May that really triggered you to pick this blue path, whatever's surrounding that, whatever you had to align to, whatever you had to fight for, whatever truth, purpose, whatever it was, right? If somebody comes in as the hero, if somebody comes in as the knight in shining armor, the Prince Charming, or the queen, or whatever it is, right, to your storyline, this is the duality. This is the test. It's like, are you going to give over all that power, everything you've accomplished, all of the truth for yourself? Because this is for you. I think this month for you is really about the divine integration within you. And I think if somebody shows up at the 11th hour towards the end of June, almost wanting to take all your problems away, I would be like, whoa, hold on. This is my pattern showing up in a totally different way, in a totally different package. And if I accept this package, I'm literally back to square one. I have not stayed the advocate for my truth. I have not, I'm not willing to do this part of my soul work, to have this high self, low self marrying, where really at the end of this month, it is such a beautiful blossoming of your truth, your identity. It's so strong. What you've earned for yourself is so strong that nobody outside of you will be able to take what you've accomplished up into this month away, right? It's like, no way will anybody be able to do that. It's gaining a level of discernment over who you are, why you're here, what you're creating. And that is the solid foundation that you need to acquire here. That is the massive integration of truth in the heart chakra, in this love energy of June, this is really, in truth, a lot of what you need to anchor into your foundation, so that the next 30-year cycle after 2020, when 2021 starts, that cycle, the big cycle we're in, that you have such strong truth and discernment over who you are, what you're creating, that not a single soul could come in and take that away. So that is your beginning of the month. That is how you kind of click in, check in, and I'll be coming back around the full moon to do the astrological and see how that activation is coming in to trigger your kindness. And so we'll get together then. If you don't have the app, download the app, because you can go into the monthly forecast there and get those videos as they populate. But make sure the membership site, if you sign up for that, free or paid, that you log in once you're in the app, the Chakra Deck app, because it is a separate site that just funnels through the app. And if you want to become a paid member, we have our live calls twice a month, and we'll be talking about all this more. And then you have access to all the amazing coursework within the Chakra membership site. So with so much light and love, this is going to be an exciting month, Blue Path, and I cannot wait to tap back in around the full moon.
The
So much
Chakra's
light and
Root
love. This is going to be
Chakra
exciting
Oracle
month, Blue.
Deck is a tool designed to help people connect to their soul destiny. As humans, we live a birth-to-death cycle, yet as a soul, our existence is infinite. In each human life, our goal is to learn and connect to our authentic self. We seek guidance when we are repeating patterns and feel blocked from our purpose. This oracle deck breaks down a human's chakra system and uses that information as a roadmap. Each chakra contains physical, emotional, and spiritual information to navigate a clear path towards authenticity and awakening. By gathering perspective with a reading, you will gain soul-level wisdom. These insights bring depth to your spiritual journey and dissolve the blocks, unveiling your highest potential. Take the next step by selecting your layout and explore a reading today.